We're going to talk about the Grand Slam today, which is our 8-day land, and it is combined with a 7-day catamaran cruise. So it's 15, 16-day program. But people, when they talk about Alaska, they think it's cold all the time. It was last week. It was maybe 10 below was about the coldest they had up in Fairbanks. But people think it's like that all the time. This is Barrow, the farthest point north. So in the summer, it's the average temperature is about 47. We go up to Juneau, which is the green line. That's about 65. We go up to Anchorage, it's about 67, and we go farther north, it's about 72. Those are average mean time temperatures. So that takes a combination of day and night. Keep in mind that from June to August, your daylight hours are pretty incredible. June 21st, there's 24 hours of daylight up here in Barrow. January 21st, there's 24 hours of darkness up there. So that's why they call it the land of the midnight sun. But we've had many times in Fairbanks where it's actually exceeded 90 degrees. I've been up there where it's personally been 94 degrees. There's our motor coach. There's the thermometer right at 94 degrees. But and it's a very different temperature in Fairbanks. It's a very dry heat and dry cold, as a matter of fact. There's absolutely zero humidity up there. So it's very comfortable at 95 degrees in Florida. When the humidity is 95%, you're really uncomfortable. When it's 90 degrees up here and no humidity, it's warm, but it's not uncomfortable. So as you can see, this was in probably the end of June. So we had end of July, 20 hours of daylight, 20 and a half hours of daylight. Sun rises at 3:36 in the morning, sun sets at midnight. So that's pretty incredible. So rainfall, people always say, well, how does it rain a lot in Alaska? It does in southeast Alaska where the cruise ships go, as you can see with the rainfall in the light green. But in the interior of Alaska, where we will be June, July, August, they average about 2 to 2.5 inches a month. Where I'm at in Florida, in the villages, sometimes we get 2.5 inches in a morning or an afternoon. So it's not going to detour your visitation whatsoever. So the first night you fly into Anchorage, and our accommodations are at the Lakefront Hotel. That overlooks Lake Hood and Lake Spenard, beautiful seaplane base that you have views from. We're going to go out to Prince William Sound the second day, and that's going to take us across some of the most beautiful waterways that unfortunately a lot of people miss. There's humpback whales, orca whales, sea otters, sea lions, harbor seals, eagles, puffins, and incredible glaciers that you'll be seeing across Prince William Sound. The scenery is absolutely the most spectacular, probably in the state. It's also noted that it's usually called the most pristine wilderness in Alaska. It's absolutely gorgeous. And we do this on a small boat, again, so it'd be just our group. You're going to see 2 incredible glaciers. Columbia Glacier, which is the most active glacier in the world. You see incredible blue ice and these big 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 pound chunks of ice falling down into the water, the glacier cavity. We'll also pick up a piece of that glacier ice that's probably somewhere between 1,200 and 1,500 years old. Bring that in, let you experience it and see how the clarity of it is really incredible. We'll venture across Prince William over to Valdez and spend our night in Valdez. Valdez is known as the little Switzerland of Alaska because it's totally surrounded by pristine mountains. Uh, the only inlet is out to Prince William Sound. So it's 320 degrees around, surrounded by mountains. We'll overnight at the new Totem Inn. That's about 3 years old now, just in the heart of Valdez. Beautiful new hotel. It's up until this was built, we had not delightful accommodations, but they're the only things in Valdez we had. So we're also going to go up Keystone Canyon. This is probably the most beautiful drive in the state. There's Bridal Veil Falls, Horsetail Falls, both coming down 12, 1,500 feet. This goes up, we'll stop at Worthington Glacier. And this is also the snowiest pass. It's called Thompson Pass in the state of Alaska. We'll come up through the Wrangell St. Elias National Park, and you're going to see some beautiful mountains. This is Mount Drum and Mount Hawthorne, just beautiful. We'll make a stop in the Wrangell St. Elias Visitor Center. So if you have a national park passport, you can get that stamped. Very few people, again, visitors to Alaska, go off the beaten path and are able to experience this. We'll actually follow the pipeline all the way from Valdez up to Fairbanks. So we'll be following that right up on the Glen Highway, which we'll be driving. Upon arrival in Fairbanks, we'll spend 2 nights at the Bear Lodge. Really a nice hotel. It's not a high-rise. It's, as you can see, a 2-story, not a 1,000 people like there is in a lot of the Alaska resorts. We're very limited here, and it's very personalized. So we have a nice restaurant for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And also you'll have a chance to visit the Auto Museum. There's about 107 pre-World War II cars in here. You can spend an hour to 2 hours in here and just really enjoy it. Not only are the cars here, but the period dress from that particular era. It's at every one of them. There's also photos surrounding the room depicting the automobile history in the state of Alaska. Every one of these cars is actually driven out on the road. They don't just leave them in here. They rotate them. They take them out and drive them, maintain. They have a couple of mechanics that just do nothing but keep these cars in pristine running condition. The next morning, we'll go out to the Riverboat Discovery, and we'll have a 3-hour trip down the Chena and Tanana River into a true Athabascan village. So now we're going to experience the culture of the Athabascan tribe. This is an Athabascan fish wheel. This flows through. What these baskets do is they pick up the salmon, and then they'll drop them down into there's a box down here. So it's a man-made fisherman, if you will. So we'll see all the culture of how they make their clothing out of the furs they trap. You'll see there's a reindeer pen that they have reindeer where they raise them, and also some housing. You can see how the Athabascans actually built their houses, etc. Then we'll make a stop on the way back at the Trailbreaker Kennels. And this is the home of the late Susan Butcher, the 4-time Iditarod champion. And this is her husband, David. And David and their daughters will come out and speak to you. They'll hook up a dog team here, as you can see, and then they'll actually take that right around the lake and come back for you. So you kind of experience a little bit of the gold or the Iditarod mushing, if you will. And you're going to see more about this later because we're going to actually come back here. So we have great relationship with pioneers. This is Susan and Dave from the Trailbreaker Kennels. and we're going to actually come back, and we're going to have lunch with Dave and their daughters on the return trip. So we want to create emotional connections between you and Alaska, whether it's holding that chunk of 1,200-year-old ice, or picking up one of these Iditarod puppies and having them lick your face. Those are things you'll remember for an eternity. This is actually my grandson, Emerson. He went up with his dad 2 years ago, and he was 8 when he went up. So he's the third generation in the family to go up when they were under 15 years old. So that's a chance that you're going to be able to experience as well. That evening, we'll take you down to the Alaska Salmon Bake. You'll have all fresh-made salmon, halibut, or prime rib. And then we're going to go over to the Palace Theater Saloon and have a great kind of a hysterical performance of the Gold Rush days in 1890s, 1898, 1900 in Fairbanks. And if this gal looks familiar, that's Gwen, our tour manager. And she's also a music teacher in Fairbanks. So if you have her as a tour manager, you'll be entertained with her singing and comedy throughout the tour. And then we're going to take you on the Alaska Railroad from Fairbanks the next morning, and we're going to go down to Denali. You're going to be in the Gold Star cars, which is the highest rated car in the state of Alaska. They're all elevated dome cars. We have private reserved seats for our group, and that's your seat for the entire trip. So you can also have dinner and breakfast, or dinner, lunch, dinner, breakfast, right down below the private, just for our people. So that's the Alaska Gold Star Rail. It's about a 4.5-hour trip from Fairbanks down to Park. This is the Gold Star car. The front 2/3 is dome. The back 1/3 is a vestibule out. So there's no windows. It's covered over the top, but it's great for photography, video. He's got
There's a lot of background noise, and we're having a real hard time hearing you.
Yes, somebody that has their computer not muted. Would you kindly mute your computer?
John, you're muted.
There, can you hear me now? Okay. Alaska has 8 national parks, and we're headed for Denali, but a lot of people think Denali is the only national park in Alaska. We've already talked about Wrangell St. Elias. We stopped there. Now we're going into Denali, but there's also Katmai National Park, which is down by Seward. There's Gates of the Arctic National Park, which is up in the Arctic. Kenai Fjords is also, like I say, down in Seward. Glacier Bay National Park is in Glacier Bay, which is south of Valdez. Lake Clark National Park is west of Anchorage across Cook Inlet. And Kobuk Valley is again over the Arctic Circle up north of Kotzebue. And then we have Denali National Park. So Alaska actually has as many national parks as California, which also has 8. But that's those two states top the Park Service. By the way, the Wrangell St. Elias National Park is the largest national park in the U.S. park system. So it's pretty interesting, and we stopped there on the way up, as I said, to up to Anchorage. So, well, what happened here now? There we go. So this is Denali, and this is the Princess Lodge, and this is Holland America's lodge over here. Combined, there's about 1,000 hotel rooms there. As you can see, all the buses in there. We're not part of that group. We don't want you to be part of 1,000 people. Like I said at the beginning, we have group sizes of 24 to 42, and it's we make everybody comfortable. This is what they call their downtown district. There's Subway, ice cream shops, all these little Harley Davidson shops. That's not Alaska. We're going to take you into the real Alaska, and that is going to be out to Kantishna. So there's this road that goes out is 92 miles out to Kantishna. And there's 3 trips that go into Denali. A lot of the cruise lines do what's called the natural history tour, and that goes out basically where the red line is, out to about maybe Sanctuary City, Sanctuary River rest stop, and then back. It's about a 4-hour round trip. You might see some animals, but not. It's not the greatest area to see wildlife. But you have a narrated history of Denali National Park. Thus, it's called the Natural History Tour. The second and much better tour goes out roughly 56 miles or 62 miles to either Tulkeeton River or Stony Hill Overlook. So this is called the Tundra Wilderness Tour. And that's a much better tour. You'll see the moose, doll, sheep, grizzly bear, caribou, smaller animals as well. And there is a 30% chance you will see Denali. And I say 30% because that's national park average that goes out. There's a good viewpoint here at Sable Pass. There's another viewpoint here, and there's another viewpoint right down here. 3 good viewpoints if the mountain's open. The reason that very few people see it is that Denali and the Alaska Range make their own weather. Denali actually sits right down here, and it follows, this is the Alaska Range that comes right up here. So the weather comes in from the west, and it carries all the moisture from the Gulf or from the ocean. It hits these elevations, which are somewhere between 0 and 10 below, 15 below 0 up at the peaks, and it makes an incredible weather front. And that weather front basically follows right up across, just like so, just right across. So basically what it does is it cuts the viewpoints off for Denali. That's why only 30% of the people see Denali. So third tour is what we do. We're going to take you 92 miles out. We do all the rest stops. We stop at Sanctuary River. We stop at Teklanika. We stop at Tulkeeton. We stop at Eielson Visitor Center. Then we stop at Wonder Lake. Wonder Lake is 26.5 miles from the face of Denali. It's the most stunning view of Denali you can have anywhere in the park. And then we'll go out to Kantishna. Now, we spend 2 nights out here at the Backcountry Lodge. And then after the third morning, then we'll come back. It's about a 4.5-hour trip with stops on the way out. This whole area is just really great for moose, bear, caribou, doll, sheep, etc. So that's the difference in Denali. Most people that you talk to people that would say, "Oh, we went to Alaska, we saw Denali," and we didn't think much of it at all. We didn't see anything. That's because they did the natural history tour right here. That's exactly why. So as I mentioned, we want you to see all of Denali. So when we go into Denali, we're going to go in by private vehicle. There's no car traffic allowed, only motorized buses. We have private buses that's owned and operated by Denali Backcountry Lodge. So we'll have, this year we'll have 24 people on that. Next year, hopefully we'll have back to 42 people again. So that's how we're going to transport ourselves in and out of the park. This is Polychrome Pass, one of the most beautiful views in Denali. As you can see, the roads are a little bit narrow. They're all radio controlled. The buses going up the hill have the right of way. Pieces coming down have to wait until these buses come up to the top. And it's all radio controlled, very safe. So when we're into Denali, you're going to experience wildlife. You're going to see moose, you're going to see caribou, you're going to see Dall's sheep, you're going to see grizzly bear, and you're going to hopefully see wolves and the small ptarmigans as well. When we get to Wonder Lake, this is the view you're going to have. This is, of course, an evening view because that's what's called alpenglow. That's when the sun is setting. So this is probably 11 o'clock at night in the end of June, 1st of July. But this is Wonder Lake. Excuse me. And all the pictures that you see of Denali, from the cruise lines, AAA, whatever, they always show Wonder Lake and Denali. What they're not telling you is you're not going to see it because you have to go 90 miles into the park in order to see that. And this, you're going to have some beautiful views of this. So we go all the way to the end, mile 92, and that's where Denali Backcountry Lodge is. So remember that picture with 1,000 rooms? This is the Backcountry Lodge. That has a capacity of 82 people maximum. So instead of being one of 1,000 people, you're going to be one of 82 people. And of course, if we have 42, we have half the population here. So these are the cabins. This is the day lodge where you'll have lunch. This is Moose Creek, where they actually discovered gold in 1908 or 1903. I'm sorry, right in here. This is the main lodge right over here. That's for, there's a cocktail lounge. That would be for our dining hall. And then right down the shoreline is a spa if you want to do a couple hours at the spa. So that's going to be your home for the next 2 nights at the Backcountry Lodge. Everything is included. There's guided hiking tours. And this picture that you're looking at here is the exact picture I have behind me in the fall colors. If you can see it, that's Denali and Wonder Lake, and that's obviously what it looks like in the fall. So there's guided hiking tour. This is called Blueberry Hill. So these are all blueberry bushes, as you can see in the background, the picture. In the fall, they all turn bright red. And of course, that's Denali right there. So there's 3 or 4 different guided hiking tours you can do. There's, where did I do it? There's fishing, both in Wonder Lake, that would be for lake trout, spin casting, or in Moose Creek, you can go fly fishing for grayling and dolly varden. There is also. There's bicycles you can take out and ride out to Wonder Lake, which is here. So maybe about a 10-minute bike ride. And there's also shuttle buses that go back and forth every 30 minutes. So if you want to take the shuttle bus out to Wonder Lake and then do some photography for 30 minutes and then the shuttle bus will come back and take you back. So there's a lot of options. Also, we're going to teach you how to gold pan. And this is our tour manager will be with you, showing you the proper way. The boots are furnished, the pans are furnished. They have little stools you can sit on if you'd like. And we guarantee if you do this properly, you will bring back gold. I won't tell you how much gold, but you will find gold for sure. So that's what you can do on your 2 nights. The second night after dinner, we do a bonfire and we have s'mores out near the Moose Creek. Another advantage of being in a small group. So our group of 24 or 42, you see that they all have insulated mugs. These are kind of a souvenir. They say the Backcountry Lodge Denali on them. They give those to you. So when you have a coffee break on the way out, you can have coffee in there or hot chocolate. What you're seeing here is they have hot chocolate available out, and we do s'mores over the campfire. And then our tour managers always has a bottle of John Jameson to put in your hot chocolate. I mean, what is better than being out in the wilderness with the bonfire, s'mores, and John Jameson and hot chocolate? I mean, that's what the people with the 1,000 people hotel are missing in Denali. So that's what we do in Denali. So we'll come out the next morning. We'll after breakfast, we'll come out of probably about a 7 o'clock departure. It's a little bit early in the morning, but it's so great because all the way out the first 2 hours, the wildlife are all out right near the road. So it's great wildlife viewing on the way out. Also, the view of Wonder Lake in the morning with the mountain in the background is spectacular. So then we'll board our motor coach and do a short 2-hour drive down to Tulkeeton. We'll spend the night at Tulkeeton, Alaska Lodge. So now you're looking, this is the south face of Denali. You were actually over on the north face for 3 days. Now you're looking at the north face. So you're going to see this for 2 days. So we'll overnight in Tulkeeton. And this Tulkeeton is a neat little town. It's actually the town that, if you remember the television series Northern Exposure, it was written about Tulkeeton. So it's a really true Alaskan town. So there's shuttles that go back and forth from the lodge into downtown Tulkeeton. So a night at the Tulkeeton Lodge, then we'll come back into Anchorage. You're going to visit the Anchorage Museum, which is the most fabulous museum. You could literally spend a day here. But there's all the 5 cultures of Native Alaskans. You'll learn about the Tlinkits, the Athabascans, the Inupiaq up north, the Yupik out west. So just a great variety. Also a display on how they built the pipeline, how they built the Alaska Highway, the history of Alaska. I mean, it's absolutely fabulous. Then we're going to go to lunch at Simon and Seaford's, the best restaurant in the state, in the city of Anchorage, that overlooks Cook Inlet. And then if you're doing just the land only, you'll have an opportunity to go down to Seward. You can do that on the train, and you can go fishing out of Seward, and then you would fly home. But continue on our trip. We're going to do 7 days on Southeast Alaska, and this is the newest product that we've developed. Rather than do Southeast Alaska by a 2,500 passenger cruise ship, we're going to do it with a 24 passenger catamaran. So these are the boats that you'll be on, and I'll give you a slight
John Hall's Alaska's signature small boat experience, the Platinum Catamaran, allows you to explore Alaska's Inside Passage by private day boat, with excursions into some of Southeast Alaska's most wildlife-rich and historic coastal areas. Fully guided by Alaska naturalists, by day, you'll enjoy amazing marine wildlife encounters, glacier viewing, and Alaska cultural experiences. Your evenings will be spent in port, rubbing elbows with the locals in Alaska's capital city of Juneau and in the beautiful port city of Sitka. With this Platinum Catamaran itinerary, we spend a full day touring Juneau, followed by an in-depth exploration of Glacier Bay National Park. Then we visit the gold rush town of Skagway, with whale watching in the afternoon. We spend a day in Icy Strait Point. Then we sail to Sitka for a day of exploration by water. And one day spent touring the Russian history of Sitka. John Hall's Alaska is excited to offer this exclusive cruise vacation, which sails with only John Hall's Alaska guests on board and includes all meals and hotel overnights. Some activities have been included, with the option to add more should you so desire. Of the 1.4 million visitors to Southeast Alaska every summer, elevate your cruise adventure with this small group cruise experience that can be enjoyed as cruise only or paired with an interior land tour.
So that's what we're doing. We're we're doing a 7-day cruise, and it's going to be on this. The actually capacity is 40 people, but as I say, this year we'll have 20, 24. Next year we'll have 40 on it. But it's all weather enclosed. This is all climate controlled downstairs. This is upstairs viewing up on top, and we really encourage that. Especially when we're in Glacier Bay, when we're whale watching, etc. But the proximity of this boat to the shore is going to be very, very, very common. So the cruise ships will be 3 miles out, we'll be 300 yards out. So that's the major difference. So basically what we're going to do, we'll be flying. When you finish your trip up in Anchorage, you'll overnight in Anchorage that night. The next morning, we'll go out to catch Alaska Airlines, and we're going to fly from Anchorage to Juneau, and that's included in your trip. We'll overnight in Juneau. The next morning, we're going to go out into Glacier Bay. This whole area is all whale watching right through here. We'll go up into Glacier Bay, cover all of Glacier Bay, and then we'll come back overnight in Juneau once more. The next morning, we're going to go up the Lynn Canal. This is my favorite spot of the whole Inside Passage, is this narrow. There's cliffs coming down, waterfalls, glaciers, all the way up into Skagway. So we'll spend a couple hours in Skagway, come back to Juneau. The next day, we're going to go up and around over into Icy Strait Point. Again, a lot of whales in through this area again. And then we'll come back overnight in Juneau again. The following morning, we're going to pack our bags and we're going to go up down the Peril to this strait and in through the Peril Strait, this beautiful body of water cut down through this narrow passageway and into Sitka. And we're going to spend 2 nights in the Russian capital of Sitka. Then we'll fly from Sitka, Seattle, and back home. So that's basically what we're going to cover, is this whole entire area. Next year, it may differ a little bit, but that's our plans anyway for 2021. 2022 might differ just a little bit, but we'll have that on our website in just a few weeks. So again, we fly into Juneau. We overnight in the capital city. In Juneau, you're going to have every night in Juneau. We'll have a sit-down restaurant dinner at a different restaurant every night. You also visit the Red Dog Saloon. That's a very popular place, especially when the cruise ships are in. It's only a block off the cruise ship's dock. This year, there'll probably be 100 people in there. Next year, when the cruise ships are sailing, there could probably be 10,000 people going through there. But at 5 o'clock, of course, the cruise ships all leave, and that's when we would be visiting it anyway, this year or next year. We're going to spend 4 nights at the Aspen Suites Hotel, and that's just a block or so off the water. Very comfortable rooms. They have a full-size refrigerator, microwave. All the dining utensils are furnished. So if we'll stop at a market, you can pick up some snacks, etc. Because all our meals are going to be included. But if you want snacks, the facilities are all there for you. The next day, we're going to take you out to Mendenhall Glacier, visit that. Then over to Glacier Gardens, which is just really a fabulous collection of plants and flowers in Alaska. It's it really is amazing to see what it actually is. So the next morning, or that same day, we'll go visit St. Nicholas Cathedral. That's the oldest Russian Orthodox church in the state of Alaska, also the state capital. The following morning, we're going to get up after breakfast and go out cruise Glacier Bay. So again, we'll come in through all this area. This is where this is all great whale watching in through here. We'll go up into the east arm, up into Muir Glacier up here, and then we'll come up into the west to, what is it? Can't think of it. Up this glacier, and then into Grand Pacific and the 2 largest glaciers right up here. And then we'll come into John Hopkins Glacier. And John Hopkins Glacier is a glacier that we're the only ones that can go in there. The cruise ships can't go in from May till, I believe, the end of August, because it's a breeding ground for the harbor seals, and all the pups are in here. So we're able to go into there because of the small boat capacity. Cruise ships can't, we can. And then we'll come back down. We'll visit Bartlett Cove. You could probably get your passport stamped here for Glacier Bay. Hopefully it'll be open by next year or this year. They're a little unsure if it will be open this year or not. And then we'll return to Juneau for the evening. So as I say, whale watching is just really incredible and through that area. This is the Glacier Bay Lodge, where the National Park Service is, the visitor center. We don't know whether it's going to be open this year or not, but hopefully it will be. This is also, you'll see a Tlingit clan house. And again, this is where you see the ravens and the eagles and the subclans. Very educational to learn about that. Also the wildlife along the shores. And then when we go into John Hopkins Glacier, this is where, this is the rarity. Cruise ship people can't see this. So we're going to be able to go in here, and you hopefully will see a lot of harbor seal pups in here, and some of some more of that incredible glacier calving. Then we're going to come back the next day. We'll again leave Juneau after breakfast, and we're going to head up the Lynn Canal. That is just my favorite trip. Is right from Juneau. We'll actually come up, and we'll go up through this area and into Skagway. And this is the route that the gold seekers in 1898 took when they came from Seattle. And then they had to climb up the Chilkoot Pass and get up to Whitehorse. So this is my most scenic route of the whole Inside Passage. We get up to Skagway, and we'll spend a couple hours touring the town, the wooden sidewalks, the old storefronts, the old saloons where they had a lot of stories about Skagway in the 1898. Frank Reed and Soapy Smith. This is Frank Reed's graves, and Frank was the sheriff, and this is Soapy Smith. Soapy Smith was the bad guy. So we'll tour that as well. And then if we have time and the show is going, this is the Trail of 98 show. It's a great history show, all about Frank Reed, Soapy Smith, how they came up from Seattle. And it was all during the gold rush. It's a great, great, great story. I first saw this in 1983, and I can still remember everything I heard back then. And at my age, that's a treat. Also, the White Pass and Yukon Railroad is available in Skagway. So we'll head back into Juneau for your the final night. The next morning, we're getting up and we're going to cruise up over to Icy Strait Point. And again, all of the cruising we're doing is in protected waters, as you see here, all close to the shore. So you're getting just the most incredible scenery and not looking out at water from the cruise ship. Hopefully, I know you will. You'll see these seiners, as we call them. They have big nets that they cast out, and then they bring the salmon in. They put them in the hold, and then the transporters come and take them to the fisheries. So again, the whales are incredible out there. These are the humpback whales, and also orca whales we'll hopefully see. But the humpback whales can come out of the water 8 to 10 feet with just the flip of their tail. That's the muscles they have in that big wide tail. They're just incredible to see that. This is a half breach. A full breach is when they come totally out of the water. So we'll go over to Icy Strait Point. This is the old Hoona Packing Company, and this is an all native Tlingit community. So it's totally run by native Alaskans, the Tlingit tribe. You'll see they're the tribe that has the colorful red and black capes, very colorful. They're also the tribe that has the totem poles. So you'll learn a lot of that about that in the Anchorage Museum when we get down here. They also have the longest zip line in North America. You can descend down basically 1 mile in 70 seconds. You're traveling at about 60 miles an hour. It's really fun to do. I've done it 4 times, and I do it again in a heartbeat. It's really fun. People enjoy it. You're strapped into a seat, so you're not going to fall out, or you don't have to hang on to anything. But the joy and jubilation of people, and when they get to the bottom, is pretty incredible. So that's available in Icy Strait Point. There's also whale watching and some other ones. If you're a fan of the Deadliest Catch, you may see a few of these boats, the Northwestern. What they're doing is they use these. Crab season is not in the summer; it's in the winter and fall. So they use these as transporters. So they go to the seiners, they take all the fish out of their hold, they put them in these crab boats, and then they take them over to the processing plants. So the Northwestern is one of the boats that's in the Deadliest Catch. Also the Time Bandit, and these are near Sitka is where we see these. So again, you're going to see a lot of marine life. Harbor seals, puffins, eagles, sea lions, and these little guys. These are the warmest pelt known to man. And when Russia owned Alaska, they almost took these sea otters to near extinction because the pelts are so valuable. If you took a pillow And you're probably going to pay $300, $400, $500 for a pillow that's that big. But if you had time and knowledge to be able to count the hairs on a square inch, you would go over 1,000,000 hairs per square inch. That's why these furs are so valuable. They're just absolutely incredible. So if you see a bunch of those together, that's called a raft of sea otters. So if there's 15 of them together, they call that a raft. If you see a bunch of whales together, that's called a pod. If you see a school of fish, they're called a school. So just terminology. So we're going to go into Sitka, and we're going to spend 2 nights in this beautiful city. This, to me, is my favorite city in all of Alaska. It's was the original capital of Alaska when Russia owned it. It was called Shiatica, and it's overshadowed by Mount Edgecombe, which is a semi-active volcano, and that overlooks the town. And there's some clinking lure about that. But there was a prankster, I'm going to say probably 20, 25 years ago, that he was a town prankster. I mean, he was just full of it all the time. So he flew a bunch of debris up into that crater by helicopter, ignited it, and all the smoke was billowing out of that on April Fool's Day. And the townspeople all thought that Mount Edgecombe was going to erupt. Well, they found out who did it, and they fined him heavily. But if you're visiting Sitka, it's something to ask about. It's kind of I hope the new generation passes it down. But you're going to spend an incredible 2 days in Sitka. We'll be spending 2 nights again at the Aspen Suites. This is just right down by the water, over maybe a half a block away. So we're going to spend 2 nights here. We'll have dinner that evening, and of course, again, furnishings are very similar to the hotel that we had in Juneau. So the next morning, we're going to take you out to the Rapture Center, and this is a fabulous institution. They repair all injured birds of prey. So, for example, if an eagle hits a power line, or if it gets hit by a car or something, if it breaks a wing or breaks a leg, they have a surgical unit in here. They repair them, they rehabilitate them, and then they release them back into the wild if they're able to do that. Sometimes they just keep them for demonstration purposes. But I mean, you could see anything from these owls to peregrine falcons to eagles. I mean, it's really pretty incredible. It's probably, I don't know what, if they've got 5 acres or more, but it's all fenced in, and they'll give us a tour and also kind of an indoctrination session. If you have never seen an eagle close up, it's really incredible. This is an immature eagle. It hasn't, they don't get the white head or the white tails until they're a couple years old. So these are mature with the white head and the white tails, and then they get the hooked beak. And he doesn't have that yet. But they'll have one of these in their indoctrination room, so you can get photos taken with them. But when that eagle looks you in the eye, if you thought your mother scolded you and gave you the evil eye, wait till an eagle looks at you. They claim an eagle can read a newspaper at a block away. I don't know if that's factual or not, but I live in Minnesota on a lake, Lake Pepin, and I have seen eagles be, I don't know, 500 feet in the air and see a fish and dive with their talons out. They come down with their talons out and pick them up. And I've seen them pick up a 5-pound fish. It's just incredible. So you're going to learn all about eagles and the raptors here. Then we're going to take you out to the Fortress of the Bears. And that is just really interesting. I haven't been there yet, but all of my children have been there, and they've taken groups in there, and they said it's absolutely fabulous. It's the people that operate it, they rescue distressed cubs. So if the mother gets hit by a car or whatever, they take the cubs and then they raise them. And they're very tame, and you're going to have a great experience with these coastal brown bears. And they're the largest brown bear in the world is a coastal brown bear. So there's also, we'll take you and tour St. Michael's Cathedral, which is the largest Russian Orthodox church. We'll have the priest take us through and give us all the information on the Russian artifacts that were shipped over from Russia. The bishop, the Orthodox bishop from Alaska, actually, this is his parish. So you may see him there. You can't miss him. He's got a beard that hangs down to his belt, I think, at least that long. Last time I saw him anyway. But this church actually burned, and then they rebuilt it back in the 60s sometime. I can't remember when it was, the exact date. But there's just a lot of neat stuff to do. There's also a Tlingit clan house to visit, where they do, the Tlingits do a dance show in full costume. It's a very interesting town. It's only maybe 10 blocks long at the most. Also, the Pioneer Home here is a home for Native Alaska, or just anybody Alaskan that retires. The state pays for everything. They put them in this Pioneer Home. It's really quite interesting. So there's just a lot to do in the city of Sitka.